Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
There's something in the air,
Yes.
and she's her campaign is doing an excellent job. And you even you tweeted out, Ben Smith tweeted, genuine question: who beyond the candidate gets credit for the Kamala rollout? It has just been incredibly well executed, and you said the appropriate thing, Joe Biden.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is okay. So there is a kind of common thought that about a month ago, Biden made the decision that at some point he will have to step down. The question is when.
Right.
Was it going to be before the convention? Was it going to be after the convention, after they'd already gotten the ticket, and therefore they'd both be on the ballot? You'd be running against Harris as the VP, and then she would just talk about leading up to the election who her VP would be,
Right.
and they would have a special gathering to do that. Or whether you do it in January, he makes it all the way through January because he was going to win. Let's be honest.
Yes.
He was going to win, no question. But the question is, does that translate down ticket?
Right.
And what the donors that I have, the Knives Out donors were all doing was they threatened him with money for his campaign, and he told them to go pound sand.
Right.
He said, I don't care. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for the voters. And then they came back and said, we're not going to give money to the Democratic Party. We're not
Right.
going to give it to the House and Senate candidates. And now you've got a gun at somebody else's head, pardon the metaphor. And that's where he was seriously thinking about, and that's why people were coming to him. That's why House members and Senate members were now coming. They're freaking out because their donors, their baseline donor was drying up.
Right.
They'd have to go completely grassroots. Do you have time between now and the with the Republicans pulling in tons of corporate money, bunch of crypto money, especially on House and Senate races, do you have time to make that up? And for most of them, the answer was no.
Right.
So that's why you were seeing people show up, not because they didn't like Joe Biden or didn't think he could win, but because they were literally being choked off from those donations. So what Joe Biden did was basically make the decision, I'm going to have to do this, but I'm going to do it on my own time. And he waited. He, in the old Braveheart hold mentality,
Right.
he waited until they had committed to their VP. So he would know what the strategy would be going forward, whether it's the whole ticket steps down, him and Kamala, because they probably had this conversation, or it was, I'll step down, hand it to you, you pick this person, and we will swipe them.
Right.
Now, everybody that we have on the Democratic side as a potential VP candidate, I'm talking about a deep bench. Everybody's lovely that they're talking about. I think it's going to be Kelly. I think
Same
it should
here.
be Kelly.
I think so.
He's an astronaut, Navy hero. Gabby Giffords as his wife makes it very personal that he's experienced gun crime. Both his parents are police officers.
Yep.
Therefore, it snipes this soft on crime
Right.
idea. And border state.
Yep. Yep.
It helps on all these fronts, and he's a good man. He's obviously focused on systems thinking, as all NASA astronauts are,
Yep.
as all pilots are. He's used to being disciplined and managing a checklist. And that in and of itself, as a habit, makes him especially good as if she's going to hand him a project like the border, like G was handed, or something like that, Kelly will nail it.
He will.
Yeah.
He will.
And same thing is true of a VP debate. It will be, all of them will brutalize Vance because he's,
He's
I
weird.
He's weird.
he's weird. But even beyond that, he's weird and boring.
Uh-huh.
That's, I think, the cardinal sin in this situation is that he's dull. Like I think that was the most shocking thing about him. Not that every story that comes out about him, sexually assaulting a moon pie or humping a couch or looking up dolphin porn or whatever, is that, never mind the fact that every ridiculous story you could come up for some sort of sexual version of a redneck going, watch this, is completely plausible coming from him.
Yeah.
Beyond that, he's dull, and you can't have that and he's now touring around with Trump. They're both together at all these events, which you don't do. You split your ticket and run people in opposite directions. But it's either Trump needs him as training wheels or he needs Trump as training wheels. Either way, there's no trust there. Trump is either keeping an eye on him, or they're hoping that if Trump really burns out, Vance will salvage one of the rallies at some point because he's losing his mind. We don't know. But it makes no sense that they're together. But it's like a wad of wet toilet paper opening for the Tasmanian devil. It is the weirdest ticket.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I mean, with Vance saying people like myself should pay more taxes because I don't have children.
Oh, wait. I look, I pointed this out last week, and I'm shocked that more people haven't realized what this idiot actually is saying, because I think so much was focused on people who don't have kids should pay more in taxes.
Which we do.
That people miss the inverse.
Right.
Which is this idiot accidentally on purpose just came out in favor of the child tax credit.
Mm-hmm.
For God's sake, this is insane. What he's saying is people with kids should get a tax break. Yeah, we had that, and the Republicans voted against it.
Yes, he
it's
did.
called a child tax break. That's why. And again, the biggest reaction for all the childless cat lady BS that he's been floating around. Yeah, you know who also had who was livid about this, was pearl clutching to beat the band. Libertarian right wingers who I don't want to subsidize other people's kid farms.
Right.
Because we look at the people like the Duggars, for example, and know that they're creating like a subcult. It's like a youth pastor creating a pile of victims or something. But the right wing sees that as somebody who is financially committed to having a herd of their own kids. That's fine. But now who else has little kids? Who else has little kids on their, poor people who are on welfare in their minds? This is what they fixate on.
Right.
Welfare queens, welfare moms. This has been a marker on the Republican side forever. And here comes JD Vance accidentally arguing for why welfare should be available to people who have kids, and that people who have kids should get a tax break, which is exactly the Democratic position. And again, besides thinking Trump might be America's Hitler, I don't know how much more democratic you can be in your talking points about the guy.
There it is, my first drink of the day, ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Many of you know my story. I stopped drinking wine for 3 years during COVID, during the lockdown as part of a health reset. Now I drink wine in moderation, but this is an amazing new product. I've always believed in probiotics. And ZBiotics, check this out. You drink just one of these. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. I am using this and I feel great in the morning. I don't have to worry if I have an extra glass of wine. I still feel great in the morning. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. I've always had acid reflux problems. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. All I know is it works. It is ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Go to zbiotics.com/politicalvoices or scan the QR code on the screen right now.